Welcome to this episode with my friend Mike Ehmcke. What a great guy. He and I have known each other since I met him at a Star Wars celebration. And I met him in the hallway and we hit it off right away. And we've been cultivating a friendship for a long time. And Mike has a lot of really amazing things about him. You'll find out. He runs a podcast consortium called the We Be Geeks podcast. It's not a consortium. Whatever. You'll find out. Just listen.
Yeah, so we had so much fun. This is part one of a two-part.
Right. We had to come back and do another show with him. It's just, you'll see at the end. We're like, okay, we're going to do some more.
Yeah. So we really appreciate your support. Thanks for listening. Support Blast and Compton Cowboys. Subscribe. Paint us. Come on the ride. And enjoy this one. All right.
Sis, hallo?
Blijven.
Stuur zeker wegen them.
Joh je iets niet, joh.
Two outlaws on the lam, taking the back roads through America.
You can't drink enough coffee for this show.
And now it's time for Monday Madness with the Moped Outlaws, Greg and Marc.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Moped Outlaws. Today, I'm super excited to have our guest, Mike Ehmcke, who is the webmaster, lead partner in something called We Be Geeks, which is an amazing collective of podcasts and just deep dive into the world of fandom overall, whether it's Disney, Star Wars, Marvel. This is the place. So if you're interested in that, go to webegeekspc.com and check out all their offerings. Of course, we will definitely put that in the show notes. And a good friend of mine. Welcome, Mike.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Little rush today, but happy.
No problem. Or we could go the Fifth Element route with Corbin Dallas. Hello. When he shows up on the ship heading towards Phlox in Paradise.
Yeah. I haven't watched the film in a while, so you're ahead of us.
Yeah, all I can think about is the Chris Tucker character.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite films, and even when I haven't seen it in a while, it's like one of those few clips that I remember distinctly.
So I know the answer to this, but I think it's a cool question, so I'm going to ask it. Mike, what is the Fifth Element?
The Fifth Element is still up in the air. No, actually,
look at that little inside joke there. That was good.
Actually, that's one of the four elements. The fifth element is Mila Jovovich, who is the protector of the world once she takes the other four elements. But it's actually a film directed by Luke Benson, I believe is the last name.
Yeah.
And it's one of the I think it's the very first film to be shot on digital with the digital camera and actually recorded with what they call a Nagra, which is a in the field audio recorder that was a full digital audio recorder at the same time.
Mm.
So it was fully digital media.
Yeah. When it was shot.
Yeah.
And then converted all back over to print media.
Film. When that came out, was it primarily still film being projected in theaters? Do you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's why when you watch the film, it's so clean, so crisp, but it's a little edgy because everything was shot digital and then had to be converted back down because everything was shot digital, which is correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, 30 frames per second. True. Whereas film is 29.5.
No, film's 24.
24. Thank you. I'm thinking, what am I thinking? It's
30
video?
in video. It's 29.5 for 30 seconds. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
So
And
So to
now
go
we're
from-
into the geekiness
So
of
to
it
go
all
from-
already.
I haven't touched this topic in like 30 years.
Right.
So to go from film in the
From
theater
digital to film.
to videotape went from 24 to 29, and then
Well-
digital is, or am I still wrong? I'm probably still
Well, it
wrong.
depends. Like there's a couple different things. One of the things that they did to try to compensate for this is that they did 23.9 for films to go to video, so that it was a frame, right? But that invented a whole new video standard that was weird for broadcast. So then they had to converge that to 29.95, but then they would drop 5 frames. Right?
Yeah.
So it's
All right. So what's the
it's a
difference
trip.
between PAL and NTSC?
What side of the country or what side of the world you're on?
That's all it is. It isn't a frame rate thing.
No, one.
it's a
is-
scan line thing. How many
Yeah.
scan lines there are?
Yeah, NTSC is pretty much a North American,
720 by 480 at
Whereas
29.95.
whereas PAL is the rest of the world.
Right.
Anyway, for those of you who are interested in all of those things, welcome to our, another episode of Let's Talk Techie Stuff. But that, what my answer was for what the fifth element is love, Mike, from that film.
Yes.
That's how I saw it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Am I recalling correctly that, as Marc, you so eloquently put it in many of our episodes, the Eros aspect of love, wasn't that a conduit for the Mila character? Like actually physically being with Bruce Willis in some sexual manner was part of the
Yeah.
Subtext of the film. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. I want to watch it again. It's, in fact, before it even came up in this conversation, I was like, "Ooh, I need to watch Fifth Element again." So I don't know.
Mike, am I recalling correctly that there was some physical?
There's that foreshadowing throughout the whole film, and then when we get to the end where they activate the other elements.
Spoiler alert.
Oh,
Come on.
No.
I'm kidding.
Guess
Go
what?
ahead, man. Sorry, I
Sleeping
interrupted.
Beauty.
If you haven't,
wakes
if you
up,
haven't
okay?
seen the if you haven't seen the film by now, it's because you're not old enough to see the film yet. And if you aren't old enough to be seeing the film yet,
You aren't old
be
enough to be listening to this podcast.
No. But yeah, it's the foreshadowing the whole thing, because when you get to the end, he's holding her, and you see the priest in the background. Just tell her already. And then as soon as he says, "I love you," her head cocks back, destroys and protects the world. And so, yeah, it's love that is the trigger word for the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we didn't have that build up of the whole film, would they have just put her in place and said, "Okay, here's the 4 elements." They hit her and love's what truly does it. I don't know. But the story makes the word love, the trigger word, so much more meaningful, and that's the fifth element.
Right. And it wasn't just the word, like it wasn't just like abracadabra. There had to truly be relationship behind the
Yes.
word.
Yeah, there had to be meaning behind it. It
Right.
couldn't be meaningless.
Right.
Yeah. So here we are. There's this element of gravitas in what words mean. Love being one of those meaningful words. And so a lot of people treat love with kind of like, yeah, whatever, it's love. But there is, like, we all need it. We're pack animals at a certain level. And, so it's so important that we love ourselves, and that we are then able, through that process of loving ourselves, to love each other and love movies. And
and we got to go with the other way love was said, I love you, but the word love you didn't come out. And that's, I love you. I know.
Oh, right. Star Wars.
And that was used twice.
Really?
And
What
it
was the second
was-
time?
Second time is when Leia
Oh, right.
defrosts
That's right.
Han, and he goes, I love you. And she goes, I know.
I know. That's
So
right.
it just totally flipped.
Right. Oh, that was brilliant.
And that's one of those ones where Harrison just invented it on the set after however many takes. And it was like, oh, that's the best line. Let's use that.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, this doesn't seem to work. Can I try something? They go, and Kirchner says, yeah, sure. So they run the scene again. She says it. He goes, I know. It's like, keep her. And that's the dog driving me nuts.
Okay.
Right.
We allow dogs on the show.
Yeah.
A little dog bark here and there won't destroy the mystery of the show.
The love.
The love. How many dogs do you have, Mike?
3 at the moment.
Wow.
Yep. Our oldest is a hound mix named Faith. The full name is Faith Trust Pixie Dust. Zoe named her when we got her when Zoe was like real little.
Zoe's your daughter.
Yep. Second dog is a golden retriever that was a rescue. He was already named. His name is Rocky. And then the third dog is a flatback retriever mix. And most flatback retrievers are flatback shepherd mix, Aussie shepherd mix. And most flatbacks are black furred dogs. It's like, oh, cool. Obi-Wan had just come out. It's like, her name's Reva. And I'm like, I get full naming rights on this dog. It's Reva because she's the third dog. She's black like the third sister from the show. They go pick her up. They're walking around the store because it was a local dog rescue that we adopted her from, and they had a deal where, you know, you get your first bag of dog food and other treats from the PetSmart for free type thing for spending the money on the adoption. So they're inside walking around the store, and they kept going, come on, Reva. You know, trying to get her used to her name, and she just had nothing to do with it. So Melissa, my wife, goes, oh, so you're just being a little rebel, huh? That head turned back so quick. I'm like, okay, it still works.
Wow.
It's Star Wars. And and I was lucky. I found a collar on Amazon that says Rebel in Arabic all the way around the collar.
That's cool.
Perfect. It was meant to be.
So her name's Rebel.
So her name's Rebel, and she wears her name with pride on her collar.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. That's so, I mean, you talk about love. Love is in part allowing living beings, living entities to be who they are.
Yeah.
In part.
Our original golden retriever we had, we tried several different names before we brought him home because it was like 2 months from the time he was born to the time we got to Louisiana to pick him up to visit family. And we tried different names and like, well, try this. And he just wasn't take. And we said, well, try this one. And all of a sudden he just reacted like crazy and ended up being Gus.
That's fun.
And he was the great-great-grandson of my sister-in-law's golden retriever. So his registered name was McFarland's Great Gusto, but we called him Gus. And he took the Gus with no problem at all. I don't remember what other names we came up with because that was so long ago, but Gus took. So, I mean, when we had a cat, we adopted a cat from a friend of one of Melissa's coworkers who had passed away from cancer. And she had just gotten the cat as a kitten. So, and wasn't around, you know, her name was Twinkle Toes because she was a black cat but had white patches on her toes,
Okay.
and just wasn't. Or the original owner wasn't around a lot because in and out of the hospital with treatment, so she didn't get used to her name. So when we got her, we tried everything with Twinkle Toes, yada yada yada, and then just one morning, as Melissa was getting ready to go to work, this is before we had Zoe, the cat just rubbed up against her, and she goes, "All right, Squeak," and the cat all of a sudden started purring, started talking a little bit more, and I'm still in bed because Melissa always goes to work before I do. Plus, I think I had an overnight that night at work, and she goes, "Hey, Michael, her name's now Squeak." And I'm like, "Okay, thanks." Back to bed.
Good to know. And that's how it stuck.
That's how it stuck. So yeah, I mean, the animals, you gotta watch their personality. It does name them, but I was close originally with Rebel, with Riva. I mean, the right concept, the right intentions were there.
You were in the ballpark, but not
in the
on
ballpark.
base yet.
Just she wasn't happy being a Sith Inquisitor and was more good. And I'm like, but Riva goes good at the end of the series. She didn't care.
Redemption was not her favorite arc. She wanted to start.
She wanted to be rebellious from the get-go.
Start, yeah. So tell me what is a podcast collective, and how do you manage all of the decision-making protocols that go with that?
Podcast collective is just another way of saying podcast network.
Okay.
I wanted to, for the longest time, it was the Weeby Geeks podcast network. The original website for the original show, Weeby Geeks, my original co-host did, and that was the Weeby Geeks, or WeebyGeeksPC.com. And a lot of people are going, "Oh, computer website." Like, no.
Right.
No.
Right.
So when Weeby Geeks got its second show, Mighty Marvel Geeks, and then the third show, Wookiee Radio, came about, I'm like, I'm going to go and create individual websites for those shows and turn the original site into a network site. And for the longest time, it was still the Weeby Geeks Network. I'm like, I've got to do something to make PC make sense. Well, being a sci-fi fan, being a geek, like, I have Wookiee Radio. Let me do something that kind of ties Star Trek into this a little bit. Well, the Borg Collective. This is the podcast collective. I started doing that, and when I started telling people, yeah, I run a podcast network, and it's called the Weeby Geeks Podcast Collective, they're like, "Oh, that's so brilliant. I wish I thought of that." But yeah, everyone has a network. As far as I know, I'm the only one with a collective. And we're all like-minded. You've
all been assimilated.
I think we were all assimilated before they even joined the network. We're all the shows are geek based. Now the decision of what type of show, I've had people reach out. "Yeah, I would love to join your network." "Cool. What's your show about?" "Real estate. I'm the real estate geek." "Cool. I appreciate your geekdom." Doesn't fit the mantra.
Brand.
It doesn't fit the brand. Yeah, but we're a geek. Again, I appreciate the fact that you geek out over real estate, but it's not the.
If you were selling shares,
it's not going to. If I get a group of people and the first thing they see is real estate geek before they see anything else, they're going to be like, "Yeah, this isn't the geek network I thought it was."
I have a question for you because I just saw this video thing. I forget what desert it is. I think it's out in Arizona. I'm not sure, but this gentleman who has built these houses, he calls them spaceships, and he is recycling human excrement, etc., to fertilize the gardens that are growing tomatoes, etc., the light, the water flow. Really impressive how ecologically minded these houses are. Would that realm of exploring real estate, not so much as the value of this neighborhood X, but more exploring, like, are you familiar with Arcosante and Paulo Solari?
No, but if we're going the route of this guy's doing it sort of like an Airbnb
No,
thing,
he's been doing it like 50
4
years.
years. Yeah.
50,
He calls them earth ships is what he calls them.
okay. And while this does sound absolutely cool,
No.
yeah, it sounds
No,
cool.
it sounds cool, but what I mean is it still doesn't qualify to be part of the Weeby Geeks collective.
It's not something that, yeah, for me. Now, if these were Airbnbs and he was doing these all over the country, Earth ships around the country type thing, and they were Airbnbs and all sci-fi vibed, oh yeah, I'll bring them on the show all day long.
Right.
Where
most
is that
likely
place?
bring them on to most likely Weeby Geeks over the other two. And if his podcast were talking about his journey of how he was building these different sci-fi themed Airbnb and putting the environmental message behind it, yeah, I bring the show on that way. But just for this, what he's doing, I respect everything he's doing. Don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't fit what I'm looking for the network.
Okay, so I have to challenge you because I went
You
to
do?
your.
You have to?
I have to, Mark. It's my
compelled.
nature. I am on the dark side is calling me.
We have cookies.
So, on your YouTube channel, I see that hockey plays a prevalent space.
Yeah, it's because originally the YouTube channel was to support the shows. And during COVID time, when we were doing a lot more and partnered a lot more with different toy companies and book companies, because they were looking for another way to outreach.
Right.
The YouTube channel was originally called Weeby Geeks TV. After a while, I'm like, I kind of want to make this more personal journey and make it more personal. So I went with, and I think it's one, again, like I always do before choosing a name, I go and check, make sure it's not taken anywhere else. Again, this name wasn't taken. I went with the Swiss Cheese Chronicles because, well, battling the mental health issues I've been battling, especially since my dad passed, especially being in the business world that I'm in with entertainment. The fact that I work for a major theme park and major company that runs such type theme parks, because I do play hockey, I am a geek, always have been a geek. The love of Star Wars, the love of Star Trek, Space 1999, which, oh, thank God that's being shown on, I think it's Peacock.
Oh, what? I can watch Space 1999?
Yeah.
Really?
Space 1999 is streaming. It's either on Peacock or it's on Amazon, one or the two.
I will find it.
I love the show Emergency.
Oh,
I'm a huge
I was a huge fan of Emergency growing up.
I still am. This is why I'm so drawn to the show 911, 911 Lone Star, 911 Nashville, because it's still kind of, even though it's not the story of the paramedic program starting, and it's still a little bit, yeah, it's about a firehouse. It's expanded to not just the paramedics, but the firehouse and the police department that supports it. Majority of it's the firehouse.
Okay.
But I'm still drawn into it. Despite the fact I have not gotten into Station 19, which ties in with the Grey's Anatomy universe. I just haven't gotten into that show. I have started getting into Chicago FD though.
I heard The Pit is really
The Pit. Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
It's amazing.
All right, I haven't seen
amazing,
it.
and I'm so disappointed to hear that season 3 is going to be Noah Wiley's last season acting on the show. But he's still going to be involved as a producer and director.
Well, and that's a spoiler in a way, because he apparently comes back from his motorcycle trip. If there is a season 3, he comes back from his motorcycle trip.
At the end of season 2, he's still debating whether he's going off on it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
That show's been out. That season's been out long enough. We're way past the 48-hour,
Right.
2-week mark.
And to tell you the truth, you couldn't spoil that show. Like, the writing is just so good on that show.
It's absolutely
And
amazing.
the intensity, like, I remember, like, for one, it's one of those ones where you just let it roll over if you've accumulated any to watch, because you can't put it down. It's like a book you can't put down. And I realized afterwards, like, my blood pressure was higher. Like, the level of intensity from that show is high. Like, you get into it and it's like you start to grit your teeth and you're sitting on the edge of your seat and stuff like that. But not like with adventure, like Indiana Jones and stuff. It's so psychological, that show.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Grey's Anatomy fan because it's basically General Hospital to me. I'm like, done. Like, no.
Yeah.
But
the 1 or 2 episodes I watched of Station 19, and I got Melissa watches Grey's Anatomy, or she did for a while, and then she stopped. But when they first introduced the characters for that on Grey's Anatomy and then spun it off, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's Grey's Anatomy in the firehouse. Yeah, it to me didn't carry right. Not like 911, not like the 911 franchise.
I got a question for you both, actually. What are your thoughts about how Stranger Things wrapped up?
you want to go, Mike, or should I go first? I couldn't, like, I watched 1.5 episodes of the final season, and I did not watch the remaining season because it was just so awful. It really did not have the level of intrigue and capturing of my attention. I wasn't excited about the fact that I was looking at stuff from the 70s or the early 80s. It was just like it had clearly run its course with season 2. And so season 4.
Season 4.
So season 3 was it. That was the end.
No, wait. Season
4.
5. Season 4 ends where they watch the town split open and they're all on the hillside.
Okay, so I just don't even know what season is which, but season 5, then the most latest season, is a huge thumbs down for me.
I watched season 1 religiously. Got halfway through season 2, fell off. Came back just long enough to see Hopper go to Russia and kill the Demogorgon in the Russian base. Then watched which this it's like, okay, somebody didn't research right, or they're taking very strong artistic liberties. Eddie is destroying things in the Upside Down world by playing a Metallica song that had only been out 2 months at that time. And there's no way Eddie was able to play it with that skill and precision within 2 months. Sorry.
I am reminded of this argument that I had with friends. Actually, I wasn't anyway, where they were arguing about the Wizard of Oz, and someone said, "And monkeys flying." And one of our mutual friends of Marc and I said, "Oh, that's where you lost the reality. Everything was good up to that."
Hey, at least they were flying and not flying out of the Wicked Witch's ass.
Jesus.
Yes,
I heard that in the Sphere version, that's what they do.
Well, you actually are.
That's kind of global, isn't it?
You're in her lower intestine looking out. That's why it's a sphere-like shape.
Oh my God. This is either going to be the highest rated show or the lowest rated show ever. Oh,
this is where I'll drop that one line that one of my co-hosts says on Mighty Marvel Geeks. We're going to tangent more than a high school geometry class.
Yep.
right. So it sounds like the formula for your podcast collective has been, to continue to just enable and this nexus of varying thoughts and things like that. And it seems to be working pretty well from what I've seen.
Unlike other podcast networks, even ones that I have tried going and being a part of, a lot of them have been, if you want to bring your show to our network, cool. There's a yearly fee of $40.
Wow. Nice.
No, sorry.
Really? God, that's such a low entry fee. Holy Christ.
I got one better. You want to bring Moped Network Outlaws to the We Be Geeks podcast collective? Your cost, $0.
All right. We got 6 seasons now. That's a data dump. You and I might have to work overtime for that, Mike.
The only reason why I charge is if you're starting a show or you're leaving a group like Podbean or whoever, and you want me to host your shows on my server, then essentially I'm just charging you the server space.
Yeah, and still $40 is a super low. Like if anyone went out to even get bargain basement hosting for a year, they're not going to find it for $40.
Well, it's not. You don't just offer to anyone, right, Mike? That there's this other element of there's something about Moped Outlaws that qualifies us.
No.
Oh, thank you.
You're not special, Marc.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I mean, I've watched the show many times. Y'all talked geek stuff. In many ways, with the way y'all approach the topics for each show, to me it comes across very geek-esque because it's something y'all are passionate about.
Mm.
And to me, a geekdom is a passion.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But because Marc, you've been such a great friend over the years, it's one of those exceptions. While normally might not be the type, more ears the better, more eyes the better, whatever.
Well, and just to go on an aside for a second, my episode's the only episode that's ever been canceled, right?
There have been 2 episodes that have never seen light of. Well, one episode that has been
banned in
just
China.
Never aired because that guest was a total pain in the ass.
Oh wow!
and that guest tried to pull a fast one on me and forgot that I'm in the industry too, and understood exactly what they were doing throughout the day with that phone call, with their phone calls. But Marc's show is the only show that has ever been where the request to
Removed
be
for editorial reasons, for compliance reasons,
been removed. Yeah.
at the request of someone who will remain nameless at the moment.
And
Voldemort.
No, too much respect to give that person the name Voldemort.
No.
Way too much respect.
Yeah.
And nothing was bad said.
No, it was just purely, it was out of alignment, and we don't need to spend a lot of time on why or whatever. I'll tell Greg off the air what happened. He might know already, but yeah. So it's not like there's a level at which people don't pull down podcast shows, right?
Well,
if you had gone on to any other show and did the same interview with them, they probably would have laughed in your face and said, "Yeah, no, sorry, it's
we're
there.
keeping it.
It's done."
Yeah, that would have been disastrous for me. Thank you again for that. I want to ask you a question. We had a guest on who put on a convention, a Star Trek convention, and the name of his company is Gaze in Space. And
that's
I'm wondering,
three A's.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you remember the name of the convention, Greg?
No, but if you looked up gaze
I'll do that right now.
in space,
I'll look that up since I'm asking the question.
Well, yeah. What's your question?
Well, my question was: Is Michael aware of it?
I am.
As far as okay.
Now that I am, I'm gonna probably go out, reach out, and try and get him on Weeby Geeks to talk about.
That would be great. So it was the
whole premise
Con, Diversity Inclusion Con in 2024, and he was a great guy. Like I think you like him a lot, and his devotion to the Star Trek universe in particular, with his sort of an aside to Star Wars, but mostly Star Trek. That's what we ended up talking about. But it's hard to put your own convention on, right? Have you ever thought about trying to do something like that with the Weeby Geeks podcast collective?
I have probably a few times. One of the big things that's kept me from pursuing it even further is, well, money.
Yeah, you could lose a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
But you got to have it to begin with,
right.
to do it.
Right.
So I'm wondering, this is sort of a left turn, but I forget his last name, David, who's currently helming the Star Wars universe, as I understand.
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
Who, by the way, is a hockey goaltender as well from Pittsburgh.
That's
the first time I ever saw his wolf logo was on his goalie mask. Back when we were on the same goalie bulletin board, and he was still up and coming into, I think he was doing Last Airbender at the time.
Yep.
And when he left is when he said he just got a major job with a major company, and come find out it was Lucasfilm.
Yep. He probably can't, they won't let him play hockey anymore, I bet.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Come on, Tom Cruise could still ride motorcycles off cliffs.
Well, I don't know. Unless Josh tells him, no, you can't play hockey. I think he pretty much trumps almost everyone else at Lucasfilm now.
Right. Josh being the new CEO of Disney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your question, Greg, about?
So here's what I'm wondering, because that's interesting. You just introduced a new CEO that I didn't know exist with Disney, but here's two entities. Do you think that Dave and the vision that George probably held when he brought Dave in and really worked closely with him, my understanding is 10 years. And people say grooming. I personally don't like that term because of negative connotations that come up for me. And it seems that George had this large vision of what Star Wars could be for decades. do you think that that vision that had all that excitement in the 70s and early 80s is a plausible scenario for the next 10 years for Star Wars?
Despite what I've seen for box office numbers, Mandalorian Grogu, oh yeah. Yeah.
So that film hit for you.
That film very much hit for me. The last, prior to M&G, the last film that came out Memorial Weekend was Solo: A Star Wars Story, which I absolutely loved. But there were a lot of other flaw issues on why that one didn't do well in the box office. One being 6 months after The Last Jedi came out and all the fan backlash from it. And two, when Ron Howard said, I could use a bit more time, which cool, push it back to a Labor Day weekend. If you don't want to release it with at the new Star Wars time release of between Thanksgiving and New Year's, because, well, you got Mary Poppins 2 coming out, which bombed. Pushing it back from a Memorial Weekend release to a Labor Day release, I think would have given Ron just enough time to get the tweaks that he really wanted to do to make the film that much more. With what he did, I was thoroughly enjoying that film. I would be curious to know what he could have done more if given just a few more months.
So what we're seeing is in the question is this idea that now that the shakeout has occurred, Kathleen Kennedy's no longer head of content for Lucasfilm. There's a new regime at the top of Disney, and Dave Filoni is the new shepherd of all Star Wars content. We might end up back at a film interval that is 3 to 4 years per film, right? Which is what it took in the past to make them.
Yeah.
And it's the right combination of careful, construction and of the show, and then the idea that the fans get hungrier and hungrier for it.
Now, the Starfighter comes out next year.
Right.
So we got to film this year. We got to film next year. Cool. I'm okay with that. Give it a couple years.
Starfighter better be good, right? Or do you think it's
better.
Curtains for the franchise if it's bombs like Grogu did? I mean, $240 million is not really a bomb, but it is when it costs you 300.
I think Starfighter, if it does not do well in the box office, I think it's the end of trying to pursue anything more in the sequel era.
Got it.
But
it's not even in the sequel era, is it?
It takes place 5 years after Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, okay. I see. So they'll go back into the Skywalker era and before.
Right. And I think if Starfighter does not do well, I don't think we're going to get Rey's solo film.
Now,
that's slated.
I'm wondering, I just saw the documentary on Kumar and what's the name, go to White Castle, what's Harold and
yeah
all right, and it talks about how it bombed in theaters.
Oh yeah.
And then on DVD it started percolating and word got out and it made huge money, and then you had 3 more films come out, and
which each one of them in a sense did not do extremely well in the box office, but it was more they were looking on the back end of the home video sales.
Right. And so what I'm kind of wondering, is there merit to Disney looking at this Star Wars universe as the long-term creation is, yes, there's this theatrical element and theaters doing what it can to draw people in with IMAX, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they still should be looking at the long leg growth of these stories in people's homes, even on people's phones, potentially.
I would say they probably have been, because Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, Disney has owned Lucasfilm now 14 years?
Yep. 12.
12 years?
12 years?
Mm-hmm.
What,
Oh, wait. No, you're right. 14 years. You're right.
2012.
Yeah.
That's when they, October 31st,
You're right.
when that deal was signed. I think what we've seen has already been pretty positive, especially like Disney Plus side, because the stuff released has been closer to the original trilogy era than it has been the sequel era.
Do you mean in terms of style or in terms of timeline?
In terms of just content in general.
Yeah, style.
We haven't had any shows that focus on anything in the sequel era. Everything's been Skeleton Crew that's taking place in this Mandoverse time period, which is shortly after the original trilogy, but closer to the beginning of the timeline between that 30-year gap of Jedi and Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
Skeleton Crew, Mando, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka?
Do you think potentially, like, I'm thinking about how Mickey Mouse is such an energy for Disney. Like when Mickey Mouse shows up, whether it's in a parade, whether it's in a cartoon, whatever, there's just a celebration that seems to happen. And I'm wondering, like, how they had Princess Leia in that one film after she had passed away. Do you think digital imagery will allow these favored characters like Hans, Luke, Princess Leia to continue being characters and stories for decades and decades?
I don't know, because I don't know how much Billy has control of Carrie's estate and likeness and whatnot. I hope she has.
Well, she signed it away to George in 1976. So
did she really?
Yeah,
76.
Yeah, all of them signed away their likenesses.
Oh, in perpetuity, yes.
Which brings me back.
But not for quote unquote digital. So there could be some, right? Can I answer that question, Mike? Can I jump in here?
Go ahead. Yeah, you probably know more than I do.
Dave Filoni will allow a reliance on that character set. His mandate is to reestablish the creative possibilities without relying on those characters, because it was George's intent that those characters be put to bed with the end of Return of the Jedi, right? And that was that story, right? And so the challenge is, can we create an emotionally resonant investment in a new set of characters that will drive the kind of interest in the modern era? And I think that is a massive challenge. Like if waking up Dave Filoni every day and having that on your plate is like kind of the ultimate thing, is Star Wars going to survive, right? Is a big question. And I actually think it's possible for him to do it. And he knows, well, plus right now he can call George. Their relationship is still that good that he can say, what do you think? And I would imagine George would take the call and give him 5 minutes of his time and say, don't do that. Or right.
And it did happen, because during season 1 or season 2 of Mando,
he was on set.
Filoni goes, "Can you come on set? Take a look."
All right, so let me ask you guys, because again, as a layperson, not a geek, I have this narrative in my mind that George was not good at directing and storytelling. And that when you look at the movies he actually directed, Star Wars being a bit of an exception, but there's an argument there, that what he was great at was transforming cinematic technology.
I want to take the lead on this one, if I may, Mark, only because I became really good friends with Chris Monkey, who was the lieutenant on the Death Star when that meets Vader at the bottom of the gangplank of the Falcon.
Okay.
He and I became really good friends after Celebration 5, which was in 2010 here in Orlando. And he said, "Lucas, as a story writer, brilliant. The concepts and everything was wonderful. As a director, at least with Star Wars, as much as I'm a huge George fan, I could see this." He said he wasn't the greatest. I almost want to paraphrase by saying he sucked, more because the crew was going, "I can't believe we're doing this thing, and if we don't get him offset, we're going to walk." And this was in England, at Elstree, I believe, if I remember right. If it wasn't Elstree, it was at Pinewood.
It depends on what era you're talking about, right? Because with prequels versus original series, like it gets really right?
This was the very first film.
Yeah, this is the new.
So Elstree was the first film.
Right.
Yeah.
He was so ahead of the game forethought wise with this particular film. I don't know if George really knew what he was getting into when he was making it right away.
There's the famous
and that's absolutely an okay thing. Because if I go back to like my original episodes of my podcast and be like, what the hell was I thinking? And why are people listening? But yeah, the crews there in England were ready to revolt and mutiny and go, "Yeah, we're not doing this anymore. The old chap he's gone crazy. He doesn't know what he's doing."
Yeah.
And look what's come since.
All right, I want to get in here because we have limited time. So I want to try to answer the question. There was the story at the end of episode 3, the prequel arc, that is in line with what you're saying, Greg, was that George wrote and directed those movies. They brought in some screenplay writers to assist, and that it was a net not positive. But now when we look back, everyone from that generation relates to them in a really positive light, and a lot of great characters have come out from that era, right?
But he did Legend also, right? Isn't that his? Or what's the one with the fantasy story that he did? That
so if your premise is George sucks,
no, it's.
So what are you asking? What you were asking is
he
from
did
a Star
one of
Wars point
Marvel's
of view,
greatest movies before the MCU ever started, and that's Howard the Duck. I will ride and die on that hill.
I love Howard the Duck. Great movie.
Despite the fact that the rest of the world thinks it sucks. They're wrong.
Well, and he mostly just was an executive producer on that. They were in huge trouble. And they came to him, the producers were friends of his, and said, it's going down, help us. And he helped them.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think the answer to your question is, as Mike was saying, his vision for story and visual art is amazing. He knows how to guide artists to create visually compelling narrative.
Yeah.
And then as far as the nuts and bolts of giving actors direction, the decision to make the first film all blue screen made it incredibly challenging for the actors to emote, right? And I think that's an important consideration in terms of style. But the thing is, we're not there. Where we are now is, can the story department at Lucasfilm nurture and execute compelling melodrama? Because it's a space opera. It is not a science fiction franchise. It's a space opera franchise.
And I will go back and say yes, because now that Filoni, well, what we kind of knew Filoni was head of creative before they officially announced it. I mean, we were joking about it on Wookiee Radio. I think when you were on, we're going, we know Filoni's head of creative. Everything's going through Filoni, not Kathleen.
It wasn't actually. It was going through LFL Story.
And
he was still ancillary to them, but now he is. So that's the thing.
But wasn't he a part of LFL Story?
No.
I thought he was.
Animation. He was head of animation.
Okay, well, I know Pablo kept going back to Filoni going,
well, you know, those two geeks are the geekiest of the geeks inside the show. Like, they all know the lore at a level, right? And that's part of why, you know, I think we got to wrap this up because we've got to land the starship.
And I have a question before we land.
Okay, so but just know that if the clock ticks over, I will disappear.
Dang diddle. Okay. So Mike, I am a Disney freak, and Disneyland is near and dear to me. I'm wondering, do you have any magic thing that as a visitor to Disneyland, I may not be aware of, but as a general public person, if I here's a special little nugget that I could experience that I may not have experienced yet?
Yeah, Walt Disney World's much better.
Ah, you're killing me. Oh my God.
There you go. All right.
How do I say that? 28 years being paid by the mouse to work here at Walt Disney World. That's why I say that.
Das Mouse. No. So I think this is a good point to say we're going to do part 2, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned.
We're going to have to do part 2
for sure. But it's our habit in our episodes to ask one final question at the end of the show.
Okay.
And we love this question. It really resonates with us. And your answer, there's no wrong answer, but we're looking forward to your answer. I'm just going to go ahead this time. I always throw it to you, Greg. Eminem or Foo Fighters, Mike?
Foo Fighters.
Ooh, how come?
Because I really love the growth that Dave Grohl shows becoming the front man after being the
drummer in Nirvana.
The drummer in Nirvana, how he's become such the front man, and has taken everything he learned from his time with Nirvana, with Kurt being the front man, and just taking it to the next level. Plus that, and seeing Dave with the documentary Sound City.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
If you haven't seen Sound City, go find Sound City and watch it. When I was going to school here at Full Sail, here in Orlando, one of the consoles I learned on was the exact same board that he's got, which is that Nave VR60, which is a dream machine. And then from there, go from Sound City to the series Sonic Highways.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely amazing. If nothing against Eminem, because he's done a lot of great things, especially coming up with Dre, being under Dre's tutelage, and then partnering and everything else. I don't think you see the musical growth with Eminem like you do with Dave Grohl, especially with Foo Fighters and everything that's gone on since.
Got it. Well, we're going to pause it right here, but
we got to do a part 2.
There will be a part 2. In fact, we're going to pause it right here, but we won't release the episode until we get back to part 2.
No, really? No.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That means I can't wash these clothes until then.
No,
Yep,
'cause
that's what we need. Don't shave.
All right. Thanks for being our guest, Mike. Live long and prosper so we can get to episode 2 of the Moped Outlaws with Mike from the Weeby Geeks podcast collective. Thanks for showing up today on short notice, I might add. And I've got to run, gentlemen.
Recording stopped.